Greetings to everybody. I am Salomon, professor in School of Mechanical and Building Science in IIT Chennai campus. Today I would like to introduce highway engineering and transport engineering to you in the context of the modern development in India. And if you really see the recent statistics of road accidents in India, you can see that over 1,37,000 people were killed in road accidents in 2013 alone. That is more than the number of people killed in road or hospital. This is something very amazing or a kind of shocking news to you. But this can be partly because of drunken driving or people were driving while talking through cell phone. Might be another one thing could be as a result of not obeying traffic rules. Substantial part of this accident can be avoided if you plan, design and construct and operate highway in the way it should be. So that is what I would be talking down the line. And again, if you continue the statistics, 1 to 1,240 road crashes occur every day in India. And out of it, 25% is being contributed by two-wheeler accidents, and 20 children under the age of 14 die every day due to road crashes in the country. And 370 people die every day equivalent to a jumbo jet crash. When we hear about a jumbo jet crash, we are all very much shocked. But what about this news? Like 377 people die every day in our country. This is something, a substantial figure we need to really look into and save the innocent lives which is dying every day in our country. And Tamil Nadu is a state with the maximum number of road crash injuries. So all this data is available in the statistics as per the data collected by National Crime Record Bureau, Ministry of Road Transport and Highway, Law Commission of India, Global Status Report on Road Safety. So when you really look into reduce these road accidents, you can see that we can really design highways as per the international standard or our Indian Road Congress standards. So this picture, the first picture shows the well-laid highway by our National Highway Authority of India. We can see that this highway is divided. It's a two-lane highway with the dividers, and the divider is really needed a lot of horticulture work on that. When one goes through this highway, can have a pleasant drive plus accident free. And also you can see that no cutting in between marks, so that there will not be any type of chance for people to take U-turn in this particular highway unless there is a designated U-turn. So this highway is a kind of civil engineering structure which ensures full safety on the roads. And if you really look into this highway, it is already just finished, but its horticulture aspect in the median is lacking, but it's still under development. But you see that highway is taking a particular turn. So there is a lot of science involved behind this turning, because when a vehicle takes a turn, all of you know that it will subject to centrifugal acceleration and the vehicle will be pulled away. So you need to design this curvature with the banging on the roads, which you will be dealing with in detail in later classes. But my scope in this particular lecture is to just introduce what are the aspects to be thought about. Now in this curvature you need to design, depends upon the speed of the vehicle in this highway. So the more the speed, you need to have a more radius curvature, so that an accident-free negotiation of the curve is possible. And you really look into this picture, it shows what kind of equipments to be used, to be hired and to be employed with the optimization, so that highway project would be constructed with a lot of economy and time saving involved. So these are all some of the aspects a highway engineer need to focus. And here is another finished highway. You can see that a highway is coming and directly to this main highway. Another one is probably bifurcating. When you have such kind of diversions, how you design is very important. So one is that you need to have a proper channelization, you need to have a proper marking on the highway, and also you can see that you need to put street lights. So the spacing of street light is very, very important, because if the street lights are not being properly laid out, that can also lead to accidents. So the recent budget really predicted or allocated around 70,000 crore investment to the infrastructure. So some major part of this money is going to be used for in the highway and transport sector. So investment is there right now. So engineers need to really work hard and make our highways and railways safe and comfortable for passengers to use. Now this is a great separator. We can really see when more number of junctions come at the same level, we can already experience in lot of traffic jam on day-to-day life. We can very well avoid such kind of long queue of traffic jam by designing a proper grade separator. This is a very complex grade separator, but you can see that free flow of traffic is there in all aspects, in every direction. Free flow of traffic is there. So one advantage is that while avoiding such kind of traffic jam, we save a lot of fuel and we reduce pollution. Ultimately, it will increase the heart level because avoiding wastage and also the health of people also won't be affected because there is no much idle condition for vehicle to stop in a particular junction and pollute more. So this kind of investment really, when you look at life cycle analysis basis or when you look into long time basis, lot of goodness is coming to the society. And this is really in our locality Chennai itself, you can see a Kattipara grade separator well laid, and I witnessed how much traffic jam was there before the installation of this particular flower shape grade separator in Kattipara. Now you can see that free flow of traffic is there. Chennai is being considered as one of the thickly populated cities. You can see that vehicles are freely moving. Those who wanted to go to airport also absolutely no congestion. So this kind of structures are more and more easily deployed in highway engineering design, many parts of our city or elsewhere also. And this particular graph shows how our paved road density in India. At present, our paved road density is around 1.37 meter per 1,000 persons. When you compare this particular road paved density with respect to other countries, we can see that in India we are much lesser compared to advanced countries like Australia, France, and USA. But when you really compare with the other developing countries like Thailand, South Africa, and Argentina, we can be happy because we have a better figure. But when you really look into the distribution of this paved density in our whole states, you can see that the paved road density and overall road development is much better in Kerala, West Bengal, Tripura, Assam, Goa compared to other states. So there is something linked with the education status of the country, maybe political situation of the state also, how the road density, road paved density is depends upon. And this road paved density is very important for the development of that particular locality because connectivity is very important. If connectivity is more, the industrial output would be more, agricultural output would be more, or healthiness would be more because people can reach to hospitals and other places very easily if your road connectivity is high. So you can see that lot of scope for other states to improve the road connectivity. So there is a lot of infrastructure investment need to be done, but it need to be invested in the proper direction, the proper way the highway need to be engineered. Then only we can avoid those statistics from death from accidents and roads. So this shows the road statistics now in India. You can see that national highways are, this is as per the statistics in 2011. That's why there is update 100% status. You can see that this is being now financial Ministry of Road Transport and Highway under CPWD will be implementing agency, and it is funded by central government. We have around 70,935. Out of which around 25% of national highway stage is 4 lane, and around 50% is 2 lane, and rest 25% is single lane. And if you look into the state highways, it is around 16 lakhs, 1,60,898 kilometers. Like major and other district road, which is under the control of state government, it comes around only 5 lakhs to 77. And when it goes to rural road or village road, it goes to 14 lakhs and 33,577. So if you overall you see our road network carries around 65% of freight and 85% of passenger traffic is being laid on this kind of road network, and that contributes around 5% of GDP. So this is a substantial amount of economic figure as a result of good road network such kind of national highway has to be there, and if the percentage of length has to be increased. Now consider the target growth rate of about around over 9% in our country. The 5-year plan we need, government is anticipated to increase this particular road length from around 71,000 to 85,000 kilometers. So, and also they wanted to upgrade the existing national highways like 2-lane national highways to develop the 4-lane highways, and also we need to have a good number of grade separations like Katipara, and we should have again pedestrian cattle and because nowadays most of the road doesn't have proper pedestrian traffic flow. For pedestrians to travel comfortably and safely, we do have. So we need to enhance the capacity of the road in such a way that vehicles should move very fast. At the same time, pedestrians should cross safely. Pedestrians should walk on the side of the road also very safely. And also we sometimes we need to segregate slow moving traffic by providing service road or alternative connectivity wherever required. And these are all under road safety point of view in such a way that our death on roads has to be go down substantially, because India is the forefront in the death of accident happening highway. We need to reduce it substantially. So civil engineers, especially those who are specialized in highway engineer transportation, need to play an active role to realize this dream so that our death toll is going to go down. Now, how do we realize this project is basically all this highway project involves a lot of huge investment. So if you really look into it, there are two ways we can finance it. And one is that public private participation mode or public sector. So when you really look into this particular figure, you can see that the road length constructed by public sector and the PPP mode, this is the figure. And when I'm really seeing the unit cost, you can see that public-private participation cost is much less compared to public sector. So this again talking about really investing public PPP model of road construction, and you can save a lot of money. For example, 12 kilometers itself around 5 lakhs. So you can imagine that more number of kilometers of road are being constructed, how much savings you can make. Now when you really look into that well-laid roads in India, you can see that we have a golden quadrangle triangle, golden quadrangle road that is connecting all our major cities, and we have a road east, west and south north line, starting from Silchar to Porbandar and from North Srinagar to Kanyakumari. And also this is our railway road, but we need more number of other roads which should be able to connect. Now if you really see there are 7,000 kilometer coastal line of India, many major ports and minor ports are, of course the major ports are being now connected, but we need to connect more number of minor ports and make connection to this major road by link road. So the government is planning to invest more into this kind of link road also. So we need to have more number of link roads, and also we need to connect number of state highways and other national highways with this well-established major roads, so that our traffic flow from one point to another point would be very fast and safe. And if you really look into this PPP model of implementation of road, you can see that it has shifted up after the implementation of the reform suggested by BK Chaturvedi committee, and you can see that in 2008-9 it picked up. It has gone to a peak level from 2011 to 2008. It has subsided to a lower figure. Now again in the budget, our finance minister, Mr. Ashney, has allocated around 70,000 crores, out of which he wanted some money to be used by public expenditure, so that PPP model need to be like substance, to be triggered further, so that this particular deal should be a higher level. So why this deal was happening is there were a few criteria for bidding for BOT, that is build, operate and transfer projects, and financial capability play a stress after the implementation of this project, because the viability has become a question. Then also the bank were not ready to give the finance in certain cases, and other cases there were issues, the land acquisition the environmental clearance issues. Nowadays, government again pushing forward the reform so that the more time taken for clearance will be avoided, so that this kind of infrastructure can be improved in speed and installation, so that money also will be going, and other kind of process involved in clearing the project also will be simplified, so that in future we hope to see that more number of wider highway with good engineering practice will be in place in our country. Now let us have a look into the transportation engineering. That would be the umbrella in which all these mode of transport come, including highway engineering. So what is meant by transportation engineering? Transportation engineering is the application of scientific processes which involve observation, analysis and reduction to the planning, design, operation and management of transportation facilities. So it is a very big area in which it involves all models of transport like roadways, railways, waterways and airways. And it involves a lot of science, and you need to really do a traffic survey in either model of transport, and you need to come up with, you do the survey, then you need to do the analysis of the data you collected. Then that data you will be using for planning and designing and the execution of the project, whatever the model of transport you are, either it is roadways or railways or waterways. You need to go and do a survey to collect the demand for traffic. Then after collecting the data, you have to go for alignment of this particular route, and which are the cities to be connected to, which are all areas to cover. All those will come as a part of the base of the survey and demand, and you need to go to the field and then you fix the alignment. So I am not going to the details of all those things would be dealt much detail in subsequent classes, but my job in this particular class is just to introduce under transportation engineering what are all scoping. For example, the transportation engineering could be again divided based on what class of transportation as roadways, railways, waterways and airways, and also based on the functional transportation engineering can be classified traffic engineering, because traffic engineering involved in road traffic is different from what is the air traffic, which is different from what is the rail traffic. So traffic engineering, another branch comes under transportation engineering, need to be looked into a lot of modern tools and computing facilities so that everything will be automated. Then public transportation is another area where we need to really look for efficient and economical and safe public transport, especially in our advanced clusters. And transport planning also comes under, because it involves a lot of planning, surveys, collection of data, analyzing the data, planning it. Then after you decide upon what kind of transport infrastructure is there, you need to invest a lot of money. So how do you finance it? So that leads to the transport economics. And once you have the alignment, once you have money, how you are going to do the pavement? So you want to do the pavement engineering, which involves either a flexible pavement or a rigid pavement. So those involve a lot of civil engineering and structural engineering and including soil mechanics details, so that one can do a correct way of pavement engineering. Then another aspect of transportation engineering is the element class of transportation, which involve driver, because driver psychology and reaction times are very much important in traffic relation. For example, train driver, captain pilot driver, or a road transport driver. So maybe 2.5 seconds maybe an hour reaction time. So one will apply a brake in road, the vehicle may travel around maybe 20 to 30 to 50 meters before stopping, depends upon the speed. Whereas in a flight, it will be much different. The reaction time, pilot will travel much longer distance. So the driver psychology and the reaction time is very important. The vehicle, what kind of vehicle it is used in transport, whether it's a train or a car, depends upon that there is a variation. Then where the path in which the vehicle is moving to the movements, then what is the overall control of the vehicle, then what are the terminal facilities, depends upon the terminal facilities, depends upon the need and demand. Then user, what is the user psychology, that also become a part and parcel of transportation engineering. Because sometimes whatever the facilities and terminal things what we design in Delhi may not be applicable in Delhi. So we need to look into the user psychology and take a planning and design So let us have a brief introduction about all those four models of transportation engineering. So let us see the roadways. All vehicles use the roadways to travel from one point to another, including automobile, truck, buses, cycles, bullock carts, trams, etc. So depends upon the use of this vehicle, you need to design the road. Like for example, you need to take a slope of the road. How much gradient you can put in the road is upon the kind of road usage. So the bullock cart is being used, you cannot have a steep gradient. So depends upon the use. And also, if a military vehicle is passing through the road, you need to design the road for taking heavy load. So depends upon the car or accident of the vehicle, depends upon the use, you need to design the gradient, the pavement thickness, all those factors depends upon this. So, and also you can have also different kinds like the intercity road or bypasses when you will offer very high speed, but have a limited accessibility. Whereas you can have a village road with a great accessibility but low speed. For example, we have a speed and accessibility have an inverse relation. Expressways will have a higher speed, whereas local road will have a lower speed. Whereas so accessibility, local roads will have highest accessibility compared to a national highway. So this particular aspect need to be considered, and each road has to be designed as per provisional code, that is road design in India we follow Indian Road Progress. So those code provisions need to be strictly followed to have a safe and comfortable journey through Indian roads. So this shows that relation how, like this is a particular figure from city, this city to the other city is connected by an arterial road or a state highway that is having a very high speed, but you can see that accessibility, when you see this side it is accessibility is very less. But when you go into the connector road, these are all connector roads, you can see that connector road of medium level speed and medium level of accessibility. When you come to the village level road to connect to the agriculture activity or industrial activity, you can see that those roads have a greater accessibility but lesser speed. So this is something one need to consider while designing and constructing the roads. And from the transportation engineer standpoint, the important aspect related to the roadway mode of transporting road, like you need to ensure that safe and efficient operation and control of road traffic. So you should have a proper laying out of the road, then a fit for, you should have enough side distance for stopping the vehicle or overtaking the vehicle, and also you should have a right gradient so that your engine will not get overloaded or stressed, and also you need to have a proper traffic control, traffic signal system, so that you will have a safe and efficient operation through the roads. And you should lay out the roads in such a way that connectivity has to be maximized and the economy has to be low and low. So these are our two functions of which you are including your safety and security through the road. Then once that is done, you have to really go for the structural design of the roadway or pavement design. Either you can use a flexible pavement or you can use a rigid pavement. Again, that depends upon the terrain to which the road is being laid, depends upon the soil conditions, depends upon the water table you take a decision. Now, you have to think about roadway-based public transportation. Sometimes the major aspect of public transportation is through roadways. You need to design in such a way that good number of bus bays, bus terminals, and service roads, all those things need to be planned when you look for a roadway-based public transportation. And when you look into the railways, all of you know that railways it is locomotive pulling mini coaches. These coaches could be passenger coaches or good coaches. And in our India we have different long distance trains are there, and we have local trains are there, and especially in our urban area we have metro or MRTs or mass transport system, or we can have a greater metropolitan area, we can have again more local trains. This is not to Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, etc. Then when you look into the railway, again safe and efficient operation control over air traffic is a must, and nowadays the train accident in India is increasing. So government has again put a lot of money to improve the safety of rail traffic. And transport engineers have to really design the railway track and traffic system in such a way that train should pass without making accidents. And layout of rail tracks also very important, just like highway engineering. How much is the curvature radius when a rail track is turning, or each rail when it is being designed for a particular locomotive, what is the speed at which the locomotive goes, depends upon your railway track capacity and other aspects, the foundation and subgrade and ballast and other rail, all those structural members you need to design accordingly. Then you need to plan number of terminal stations and other yards based upon the operating aspects of the thing. And in future we are planning to bullet train in India, so you need to design bullet train coming back in a different way from what our other express trains or the proposed trains are. So all this involves a lot of engineering, which probably we need to upgrade our skill to allow a design which will allow a train to go at 200 or 50 kilometers per hour. So what are the track that we are having now cannot be sufficient. So we need to have a dedicated tracks to allow those kind of arrangement. So this picture shows some of the like metro rail in Delhi, it goes, and this is a particular station, what our facilities to be needed in the, all of you will be very familiar with what our facilities needed in the station. But these are all comes under the aspects of transportation engineers, depends upon the frequency of all the train through it, you need to design the station facilities and all other amenities. And also you can see here the number of crossings and the more number of track crossings you can design different type of crossings. For example, this is a diamond type crossing. Okay. So this is one example track crossing. So there is a special design involved in that. All this will be learned if you talk about railway engineering in the country. And this is an interesting slide which shows that railway operation is profitable. In some point of time it was making 10.5% profit in terms of goods, and by margin it was making 22.67%. So overall you can see that railway is making profit. But again, now when you look into the safety and cleanliness aspect, Indians need to improve a lot. For example, this picture shows passengers are sitting on the roof of train and traffic. So ask the safety aspect. How is the safety of this people? So people are not at all aware of how dangerous the way they are traveling. And also some of them may be ridiculous travel and sure about it. But this is something to be avoided in our country. And another aspect is we look into the train toilet. You really see that nowadays people just get into the rail toilet and you can all of us know that it is an open pit. And just you pass your excreta, everything will get into the ballast. So it really, later days what happens, this particular organic matter will be decomposing and sometimes it will be releasing some kind of stuff, or we let it go on, that may lead to corrosion in rails. So there will be an economic loss of road. So nowadays government again looking into this sanitation aspect, and the recent budget has again given a provision for use of bio toilets and vacuum type oil which is being used in everything. So such kind of installation will really improve the sanitation aspects of our rail journey, and also it will protect our environment around the railway track, and overall it will improve the durability of the railway tracks. So this also one thing the transportation need to look into this aspect. We need to invent new devices to have a better sanitation. So a lot of research is going on in that way to improve it. So when you look into the waterways, there will be waterways, we have dedicated corridors for the passenger ships or boat or whatever the vessel it is going. So those also comes under the purview of transportation engineering. So it is a dedicated corridor in response to water which is safe and direct connection between the origin and the destination. And when you really look into this transportation comes to this particular port area, you will have more thicker traffic, so you need a lot of traffic. These are all some examples of these carrying the cargo. So you need to see that proper dedicated channel is available with the proper signal system and to establish communication so that navigation becomes basic. And this shows some of the local level port transport, including tourist people will be using housing boats and other things. Again, the sanitation aspects need to be emphasized here because the local body of water will get contaminated if you have a kind of toilet system just like that in the area. So sometimes some household in earlier days used to have toilet directly discharge or urine and human excreta water bodies. That will lead to lot of pollution of water bodies and eutrophication. So that later on your ecotourism or water bodies will get affected. So we need to have a proper sanitation in this kind of vessels also. That also comes under purview of transportation engineering. So this again shows some of the civil engineering structures where like you need to take care of the tidal effect and the wave effect so that when your ship is embarked, it should not be get disturbed. So you need the civil engineers need to play a big role to do a lot of survey regarding the tidal effect and the wind effect, then construct proper man-made structures to protect this particular part vessels from adverse and tide so that port and harbor activities can be safe. This shows some of the examples in which how man-made structure will be protruding to the sea and how channelization happens so that the port and harbor activities can go. The last one I want to introduce in the transportation is airways. All of you know that airport facilities and airway traffic also involved under the transportation engineering. So, like air also there is a chart path available for aeroplane to fly. So this chart path is being designed depends upon the direct connectivity between one station and another station and also prevailing atmospheric condition. Normally flight to 5 meters or around kilometer where we can see that atmospheric condition will be conducive to the minimum turbulence so that aeroplane will not be subjected to much turbulence and the comfort level will be maintained. That is why normally flight will be flying at the 30,000 feet. And sometimes the operator will be depends upon international equipment such as terrorism or other aspects also and other safety issues. So various kinds of aircraft may use this particular charter route, including single engine planes to large jet aeroplanes. And you know that air travel is considered one of the fastest and safest mode of transportation because even though we come across many accidents in aviation sector, but the frequency is very less compared to train and road accidents. So we need to really, the scope of transportation engineering, we need to look into the boarding and alighting of passengers in the airport, loading and unloading of cargo, and fueling, maintenance, air traffic control, then ticketing and customs, immigration, all these facilities also become parts and parcel of many airport stations. So transportation engineering should really look into this aspect and plan for facilities. And you have to see that safe and efficient operation of cargo aircraft, especially at near airport. You need to do the planning and operation of airports, including this traffic regulation, orientation of runways and layovers. This is very important during the planning stage. You need to do the survey regarding how the wind flow in your airport area. So you need to really take into consideration the wind growth diagram of that particular area. What are the building infrastructure in that area? Based on that, you will be based on the runways. Then after runways, you have to take taxiways to take the aeroplane to the terminus. You have to really properly plan and design in such a way that the free flow of traffic will be ensured. Then after that, you will have a plan in the part-time of airport, like how many flights will be coming, how you will be disembarking or boarding the passengers, depends upon that. Many facilities there. Then you need to think about the impact, then we need to design taxiways and upright so that they get road of flight or aeroplane fast, it should be stable. Then you should finally go for planning and operation of vehicle circulation part on the land side of the airport. A lot of cars and other vehicles will be coming and waiting for their passengers to come on. So you need to really design a good parking facilities at the outside of the terminal so that their operation of the airport is not get affected. This all comes under the public transportation. And this shows how the layout of the runway can basically this shows that there is a long runway that may run from 3 to 4 kilometers and either side there are terminals and flights are being taken to runway and it is one by one it is going to take off. So this shows where flight is coming and landing in a particular runway, and you need to design the angle on which it is coming and landing so that in this particular flight path there is no any high-rise building, and this runway you will be laying on in such a way that it depends upon the wind, so that when a flight lands, it should not be carried away by the wind. So you have to lay down, it depends on the predominant wind direction, and the impact when the flight lands here is going to have a great impact on it. So the subtle design of this particular pavement has to be done very properly. So it again comes under the civil engineering. So this shows again some of the kind of runway very complex. Like you can have a cross runway is very important. You see that one flight may land here, one may go for takeoff. Neither way, it should be designed and operated in very efficiently automated way so that no accident should come under this. This is a very dangerous zone and has to be careful. And when further capacity expansion goes, we can think about alternate runway which will be apart from that. If you are only, you can see that sometimes you know that Japan or people are building the airport in sea. So maybe in future civil engineers task is to build airport will become more complex because we don't get a lot of free area in that area nowadays. We have to really go for more offshore based airport. So that will become more challenging in India also. Very recently in India we cannot face that kind of situation, but maybe we can think about maybe after 1 century or so, maybe one has to build airport in sea also just like that. Okay, that's